Cooper hasn't done that I can say he should do to say he's done it all.
He won that championship. That was it.
Everything. He's done everything. He's scored a lot of assists.
The only thing that can cap off his career is becoming Mr. Basketball.
So why is it that when I watch Wild and Odom, did I feel like he's the best player? Every time I watch the Wild Odom play, I feel like I'm seeing something special. Like I'm seeing something that I'm not gonna maybe not see again. I said that for a long time. BJ Boston was my favorite high school player in Georgia. I don't get that feeling that I'm seeing something I'll never see again.
Yo, it's the Love the Game podcast. We're in the building. It's Thursday night. Everybody knows what the deal is. Fellas, how y'all doing? How's everybody week going?
Great. How's yours?
Week going smooth, man.
I can't complain, man. What's the deal, man? We've been out here in these streets or what, man? You keeping the slow motion or what, bro?
Man, I've been low key in it lately, man. Just been low key in, man. Just moving through the weeds and stuff like that, man.
Man, I was having that conversation with somebody this week that my boy just kind of slowed it down a little bit, man. Like, you know what I mean? I'm happy to see it though. I ain't tripping. I ain't hating on it a lot.
Just slow, man. You know, man. Eventually, man, I can't do it forever. I did it at a high level for so long.
You definitely, hey man, I was living vicariously through you for a good couple of years.
I got one more shebang though. I'm going to Vegas next weekend, so I got one more grand finale.
Hey, my boy said when the work was no longer fun, then my guy got to step away from the game, bro.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you though, a lot. You did do it at a high level, dog. Got a few all-star appearances.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got the teacher of the year in the background. Alfonso, what's good, bro?
Hey, trying to educate the minds.
The minds of the youth.
Of our youths, as my man Joe Pesci would say.
The youth.
Of our youths. And that's not the Utah youths.
No doubt. Man, it's a lot of good stuff going on, man. I wanted to as we get ready to kind of get back to school, a lot of cats are already back in school, so it's a lot going on. I wanted to, some of the things that we talk about, it may seem old to us, but I swear I get so many notes from parents and parents bumping into me when we do some of these things about like helping people understand, hey, AAU was over with now. Everybody kind of went on vacation, had a break, did some team camps or elite camps, but now school started and it's time to kind of kick it into the next gear, into the next phase of the year. We get a lot of compliments about kind of doing this segment every year about this time, but I want to toss it out to y'all to help remind parents, players, even coaches, like what should be happening for everybody to prepare for next season.
In my opinion, I feel like at this moment, get some rest, but still, just the time I feel like you really get the chance to work on your craft without nobody looking at you. This is the time where, if things that you saw that you wasn't doing in the summertime, maybe you didn't make a couple threes, or you want to work on your mid-range, or you missed a ton of free throws. I feel like this is the time where you lock yourself in the gym. Nobody's in there. School just started. Some schools are not having, workouts or anything yet. But even if they are, I just feel like with the team workouts, that's for your team. You need to do stuff individually at this time because right now, the next month you got camps coming up. You want to be fully equipped when you come to these camps. So I think this is the time where get your rest in, but still working on your craft. You don't have to play any games right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, you make a great point, Locke. I mean, Brendan Haywood said this yesterday. I want to believe last night on NBA TV or ESPN. Either way, it was definitely the summer league where he mentioned work on one thing. Everybody wants to go into the gym and work on everything to get better, right? So it's work on one thing. And another thing, aside from actual skill development that you're talking about, Locke, a lot of these kids need to hit the weight room. All right. The weight room is essential if they intend on having any major success in basketball. I mean, because we could sit here and because this is a football state, or we have a lot of people who are about to kick off their football seasons this week or next week. You got quarterbacks that they really don't do that much hitting, but they're still working not only on their passing stuff, but then they go hit the weight room. That's what a point guard needs to do. That's what a guy on the wing needs to do. If you want to work out in the morning and hit the weights and do skill development in the afternoon, that's a perfect combination. You get two workouts right there. So it's just using your time wisely. I mean, again, like you mentioned, some schools may not be having workouts. Your coach might be able to open the gym for you to be able to get some shots up. Take advantage of that because there's very few coaches who are going to complain if their kid gives them a call or a kid in their program gives them a call. Coach, open up the gym. I want to get some shots up. I know you can't be there with me because most coaches are only allowed to have 4 per staff to work out. So you want to be able to just be in the gym and be like, okay, let me just get some shots up. Let me do some things. And again, it could either be in the morning or in the afternoon. Either way, I would just suggest find your way to the weight room. And that don't mean the weight room during just solely at PE class. Find your way into the weight room where the same way you've invested some time with a person who's going to work with you individually on your skills, get in the weight room. Find a trainer that's going to make you athletic. You're not trying to be a linebacker unless you do play football, but be strong enough where you're able to handle the ball, not get pushed off your line. And those things that, again, it goes underlooked. And by the time kids figure out, they're like, oh man, I'm not getting recruited. What's the problem? When you talk to that coach, his or her strength, so just find a way to get into that weight room because if you choose to run from it, it will catch up to you eventually.
It will.
Bryce, I wanted to ask you, put this question out to you too, man, because like you worked under Coach Rogers, like is one of the best to coaches in our game. So I know you soaked up a lot from him. Around this time, what are the great high school coaches doing around this time? How are they preparing for the season?
I think a lot of them are kind of getting their groups organized as far as who breaks down with what, like coach, and those 4 on whatever it is, 4-on-1 workouts or whatever it is, 3-on-1. I forgot what it is, but
4-on-1.
Yeah, a lot of them are working on that stuff. Obviously, the good high school programs have a top of the line strength and conditioning program. So they'll probably give you about a week and maybe a week and a half to get acclimated in school. And then after that, you are probably hitting the weights. And then you probably doing some 4-on-1 stuff, and you might have some other stuff sprinkled in there a couple of days, mostly every day of the week. You'll have something. So I think that's the main thing. You have your fall league stuff, so they're probably doing some fall league practices, maybe once or twice a week. And really, just getting your mind right and focused for the upcoming season I think is a big thing. Making sure you're working out, but you're still rested too. You're ready to go. So that was a huge thing. And even with school stuff, making sure the kids are going to class and they're on time. They're not in the hallways and things like that. Is a pretty. It's not something that's talked about a lot, but it's something that varsity coaches have to do, because if a student isn't on task, they're the first one to hear about it in the school. So and so is late to my class every day, and that's actually the most frustrating thing from a coach's perspective in the building is when that teacher or teachers have to come to you every day and say, "Yo, this kid is coming late." So I think just getting that stuff in place right now is what a lot of high school coaches are doing.
Got a question that actually got texted into me. And that question is, how is it looked or is it frowned upon for a player to skip preseason conditioning or any fall league games to work on their selves as an individual, to try to do some of the things that we talked about, get extra weight room session in, get extra workouts in, extra shots up? How does that look at?
I think depending on who the kid is, like if you're a 5-star kid, you might get away with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But
some programs.
Yeah, some programs you might get away with not coming a day or two or this and that. But for the most part, you're gonna be held accountable for coming to conditioning and after school study hall maybe.
But the thing about it is most fall leagues are varying. You got some during the week, some on the weekends. If your fall league is on the weekend and you're telling your coach you're going to skip out on any conditioning or any skill stuff with the team during the week, yeah, that's going to be frowned upon for sure.
When I was at Westlake though, like a lot of the main guys that we knew were going to play pretty big roles on the team didn't play fall league.
Right. I mean, and let's be real. When you're talking about the size of Westlake School, you have that luxury where you can, you don't need to do that. Some of these other schools are sharing athletes.
Yeah.
That those guys you're going to excuse as well. So then you have those others who aren't doing anything and they want to get their leg up. And I always tell people is like you want to eliminate politics in the process of being an athlete at any school. Put in the work, make that coach not play you based on what. All right. If you come in there stronger, more skilled, more this and that, hey, you should earn your time, right? But if you choose to skip, and even though we know some of it is voluntary, some of them is scheduled, and a lot of times you have some legit excuses, but really, what are you really doing unless you're going home and taking care of a sibling? Because sometimes when I used to be part of a program where we did workouts in the morning, like many schools do, and kids was like, "Well, I can't get there in the morning." It's like, "Don't worry about it. I'll come by and pick you up." So you help try to eliminate excuses, because all they're going to do is if you allow a kid to get one excuse, he's going to use 10 excuses.
And you made me think of something really important. Those morning workouts for those high schools that do have prospects that are being recruited. When you start those morning workouts is when you will start to see those college coaches start.
Yes, you do.
So a lot of times, those bigger schools or whoever school is, they'll get it in the morning and they'll have those workouts and they'll leave the afternoon for the kids to do homework and recover and things like that. So just depends on the program.
Yeah, but like I always would tell kids when they would think about skipping a workout or whatever, I'm like, yo, don't come in here when these college coaches is ready, because then I'm just going to tell you this might not be for you, or this school might not be for what you're looking for. So not many times kids missed, but if they have legit excuses, you can buy on that. But you're right, Bryce. I mean, most of them are trying to plan out their morning sessions or to try to catch a kid here and there, especially when it comes to these public school settings.
Yep. I mean, when we had Truman and all those guys, I mean, literally every morning at 6 a.m. there was college coaches in there watching.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at it too. If you ain't on varsity, you shouldn't be missing no workouts.
True.
Period.
True.
Because I mean, they only help you. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, so and it puts you continue to build that relationship with the coaching staff. So
Got another question coming in, and Pot's heard. I see you, big dog. We're gonna get to your question as well.
too late.
What are your thoughts on schools not requiring athletes to attend in person, but if they don't, may not be able to play a sport? So basically, this is the ruling that we're seeing across the state of, hey, if you play a sport, you have to attend school in person. If you do not play a sport, you have the option of going online.
It's going to be difficult for a lot of people.
Is a GA law they can take online class well before COVID.
It is. You know what I mean? And then you do have kids who do that. You know, they've been doing this before COVID. You know, a lot of people are going to try to hold it to the law of the land on COVID, but they've been doing this before COVID. The kids have been able. I mean, there was a few kids who played this past season some of them were homeschooled, or some of them chose. I mean, I know several football programs that they had kids not show up to school. It was virtual, but they showed up to practice and games. So, and yes, we could sit here and go, yeah, well, last year was last year. It seems like in many cases, people are getting that option. They can be able to do it again.
I don't, and this is just my thought. Like, I don't have any type of historical precedence off of this or anything. I just think with what we're seeing with the Delta variant, I'm not sure with or without the vaccine why you would force a family into making that decision.
Actually,
wants to play a sport.
Actually, that's on the family's side, because if I'm going to be convicted on whatever line I choose to stand on, vaccine or unvaccinated, it's still my child. You know, and if I choose to have them at home, then yeah, you know, if you want to go ahead and proceed and stand in front of the GHSA and make your argument, or the school board to make your argument for your child to be able to play, you know, again, they have that right to. They have that right to make that argument. But, you know, again, if they choosing to keep, it's a choice. Everything comes out to choices. You know, and you're not being forced to do either, because playing even a high school sport, you're not, what's the phrase, but it's not something that you're supposed to do. It's not your rite of passage, like, oh, go play a sport. Like, just because you entered high school, you can go play a sport. But you know, you have, you know, it's not your right. You make a choice to do that as well. You know, so it's just a matter of how your school board and your coach deals with it. I know I seem so hard-nosed about that.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. In a perfect world, in a vacuum, yeah, I would agree with that. But I mean, you are kind of forcing those guys to go at that point. I mean, we understand how important sports is, the role that they play.
Right.
We're talking about a health issue.
It is. I mean, listen, you're talking to a person who went through it.
Talking about limiting, I think, exposure to some degree. Now, I don't have a dog in the fight when it comes to that, but I think that's what is being said, and I'm not sure why that ruling would take place. It just doesn't make sense to me. If we did it last year, why would tell athletes that you have to come in?
Well, and again, that's where, you know, you have that conversation with your coach, principal, athletic director, and if parents have every right that if they don't like the answers of any of those three people, there's an entire board that's willing to listen to them, or at least pretend that they're listening to them with the GHSA. So, I mean, it's, you know, you just want to be able to get, whoa. Yep. But you want to be able to, again, provide those families with the decision and option to be able to do what they want to do with their child. Now, there are some schools, including coaches, especially in this thing called football, they probably twisted an arm or two to convince somebody to get to that football field.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
So
And I think what happens when it comes to this is, I think instead of looking at the real life issues that take place, what we default to is transfers and cheating.
true.
If you ask me why a rule like this would ever be in place, and I don't know that it is, but I'm assuming that it is because we're getting the question. It all goes back to transfers and cheating. I think we skip over naturally a lot of times the health issue when it comes to that, and we go to, well, if you go to school online, kids will transfer. You just go get an address. You don't even have to go to the school. We got to stop this, and it comes back to transfers and cheating instead of um, any decision around somebody's health, limited exposure, or anything like that. But we'll see how it plays out. I'm interested to see. I wasn't planning on talking about COVID, but it's going to be interesting to see. We made it through last season relatively. I mean, it did disrupt a big portion of last season. But I'm interested to see with the Delta variant, with what we're seeing with the case counts right now, what decisions get made. I know I'm seeing like if you have the vaccine, I'm seeing some status you can file an exempt status or something like that, to where if you come in contact with somebody that has COVID, you don't have to sit out the 10 days, which is odd. I personally know multiple people who have contracted COVID after having the vaccine, so I'm not sure why that matters at this point. But that's the rule that I'm seeing. So it's going to be really interesting to me to see what happens this season. I think people are just fatigued with it, and I think it's just going to be like whatever.
People are definitely fatigued of it.
I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but I think that's what's going to happen when it comes to that.
And Locke.
There goes the host.
You in charge of the car now.
Oh, okay, cool. Man, what kind of car? It got to be a Cutlass on some 22s.
Oh, there he's back.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, we went back.
We thought we were going off the road without you, boy.
Wolf
Hey,
finna hop in.
man, somehow I got kicked out.
Wolf finna hop in the 2-door cut, dog.
Hey, man, Locke knows he's supposed to immediately jump in and start hosting the show.
Which is what I told him.
Hey, but
So
y'all know Locke is not a point guard. Have you ever seen that man hoop before?
Here you go.
He is a 3-4. You ever seen somebody that's 6'3", 6'4" at the 4?
Baby Draymond.
Hey, well, Bryce is the shooter, so Bryce is gonna start gunning if I'm not here.
Baby
Really,
Draymond.
probably. Yeah, I'm gonna let it fly. I'm definitely gonna let it fly.
Hey, well, let's go to. We got another question, man. And this is a good one. Is it too late for the 2022s? And I'll frame the question like this: how should a 2022 be handling their recruitment right now?
Research. You know, and if you have an offer on the table, have conversations with them coaches, get a feel for it. You know, if they're allowing you to visit, great. If not, everybody's got what we're doing right now. Go on a virtual tour, have conversations. They stay in conversations with these coaches. And if you like the feel, I would suggest you would commit. And those who don't have offers, as we started the show off, work, because them coaches will be back out in September.
And you have to be smart as well, because I think a lot of guys, when people say like too late, they feel like just D1s. You have to know, like, you have to, at this point, at this condition that we're in, you have to consider all levels.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I put that graphic up earlier about the HBCUs across the country. Everybody talks about they want to be HBCUs. There's various HBCUs at every level. And there's some, yes, that don't play sports, who I was informed, but some people got to do their research, and realize how far they want to go from home, how close they want to be, and start looking at programs that, again, everybody has a dream school. Everybody needs to find a school and everybody needs to get to school. So, you know what I mean? If you take that approach of, hey, my dream school is XYZ, I definitely think I can get, then your next level of schools is I think I can get into this school with what they have and what I want to study. And then there's always the layup school that you know that no matter what your grades, when I say no matter what your grades are, like you got grades right now to enter that school, you know, and your skills to be part of that program. If you look at things like that and break it down that way, it'll help you. But it's not too late. Only it would be too late if we're having this conversation in May to some degree.
But you know what's funny though?
I think that I think what has happened over the last year or so with recruiting is the COVID thing has magnified recruiting even more, and I think it's shown how hard it is to go D1 for starters. And I think that people didn't really realize that because, you know, they haven't been through the process. And regardless of COVID or not, I think that the coaching staffs are always looking for a specific fit. Some looking for, you know, how the kid is a system guy. They're looking for a bigs. They're looking for certain things. So it's, and for some reason, I think the COVID has just made it magnified it and made it come to the surface when, you know, it's already been hard as it is. So to answer the question, no, I don't think it's too soon. I personally think that they will still look at 2022 throughout the high school season. So I think that's important that kid plays well. I think that kid has to perform well at a high level. And then I think that they will go back and evaluate how their season went and who they have coming back next year. And I think that's how they're going to be able to move forward, like Fonzo said, in the spring.
And like, I think, like you said, as time goes on, it's going to get harder to go D1, but I don't think it's going to get harder to get into college because, like, we just had Chase Ballard to sign D2 in August at Miles. Right now, I'm texting JUCOs who are still looking for 2021 players till this day. So it's still an opportunity. Are you just going to be satisfied with what you get on the table?
Man, and I actually had yes, it was a D1 program. Called me today, said they got 5 spots open for 22. And they're looking for maybe 2 on 23. So it's not impossible. It's just you got to find what fits you best. Like you can chase the D1, and if that's what you choose to do, that's a choice. All right, that's a choice to chase the D1 option. I get it. All right, everybody wants it. You know, your parents want you to do it because they want to make sure they could brag to the neighbor because that's really what it is. Like, man, let's just be real. Because at the end of the day, school is school, and people are going to want to brag to their neighbor like, "Yo, my kid's D1." All right, I get it. You know.
You know what I would do if I were parents, because we also have had a number of kids this year consider JUCO, and what I would do is research the JUCOs, and there are a lot of big time JUCO basketball schools, Florida Southwestern, Georgia Highlands is pretty good. There's a lot of them that can kind of, if you choose the right one and you play and you perform, you can get to the highest level after that.
Correct.
I think that parents should look at that route. We had another guy from this summer commit to a big time JUCO, and if he goes in a year or two, he plays well, he's probably gonna go at least D2, probably D1. So I think that parents shouldn't leave that off the table and really consider it. And honestly, some of them they have really good facilities. Some of them have, you know what I mean? They're in nice places in Florida and these. So I think it's something that parents really should consider if it's getting to that point where like we got to make a decision. Well,
and
I mean,
like,
go ahead, Locke, you got it.
The JUCO programs will offer you a scholarship a whole lot quicker. Because they're trying to lock you in soon. You know, like Bryce, we got kids at East Georgia. We got kids at Central. We got a kid at Georgia Highland. Like those guys are willing to get those kids and develop them. So, like you said, you have to look at that option now. And like I said, you can do even if you have grades. All JUCO players are not like dumb kids.
Yeah,
Like
they're not all.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
I
But
think
and the thing too that you guys have had with your respective program, kids have got to be willing. Kids from the South have to be willing to go somewhere outside the region. All right, because if you're only married to I want to stay here locally or within a 3-4 hour, 5 hour drive, 6 hour, maybe 6 hours, you know what I mean? That in some cases that hurts some kids. All right, because now you're being measured against similar athletes who may do more at that position than you do. So you have schools in the region that are only going to recruit those kind of kids. But if you end up going north, out west, the Midwest, Texas area, now you're potentially a kid that they've never really seen do the things that you do. All right. Is mom and dad wishing you were closer? Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, it's okay to go away, see a different part of the country that you may be able to compete and find a school that is willing to work with you, regardless, based on where you at right now. That if you work at it, they may get someone who's gonna exceed the level that you're at, because that just usually happens. But if you're like, I just want to stay here in the Southeast region, it becomes tough.
So, in like last week, or it might have been a little bit before then, honestly, Eastern Florida State offered Dominique Henderson. So if you go back and look at Eastern Florida's schedule from last year, here's
They
who
played all Florida schools.
They play Indian. Well, first they play Potter's House, which is prep school, but they play Indian River. They play Palm Beach State, Florida Southwestern, St. Petersburg College, Santa Fe College, Daytona State, Polk State, Florida State College at Jacksonville. So you're playing big time basketball.
Well, first of all, the league that they're in isn't for punks. Like,
Right.
Yeah, that ain't for punks. So that was just in a way a modified January and February schedule. Let's think about that. That wasn't an entire season of JUCO basketball. That was a modified. And if you get an offer from Eastern Florida, for example, again, it's not a JUCO just offered me, so you feel disrespected. No, be appreciative that it's a JUCO that has had some success in the past and has a history of putting guys into school. Take it as okay.
Yeah.
Let me look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I just think that at this point, and I think for myself being kind of in the mix for a while, I kind of overlooked JUCO myself. Just to be honest.
I'm a JUCO product, so I'm a fan of JUCOs.
Well, I mean, and I overlooked it, I think, because when we had live periods in the past, those offers would come in at a higher rate. So now I'm looking at like maybe things are a little different now. Okay, so let me look at JUCOs and see how that's going to help these kids. So a lot of them, I think it's a route that a lot of people should definitely look at, especially if you want to play Division I. You got to look at JUCO. JUCO
makes you a man. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's a lot of things that happen in JUCO that mom and dad can't help you with, and it's going to make you deal with adversity. It's going to make you deal with some things that you may not have been equipped had you gone directly to a Division I school. Because I think sometimes the work that a kid doesn't really put out on the floor is reflective on why a lot of these kids are jumping back into the portal. All right. Because if you don't put any work, or you don't come from a program that is forcing you to have to work, when you get the approach of, hey, I want to be able to get on the floor at this D1 program or even at a JUCO, you're gonna have to earn that spot.
Yeah. So another great question that we have in, and that's what's your take on Division III schools?
Nothing wrong with it at all, because some Division III schools, and I forget the young man that's from South Georgia that's at Sydney Hampton,
DJ Murray.
Yeah, if you got the grades, they will find the money for you. Oh yeah, by the way, D3 guy right here. You know what I'm saying? So they will find the money for you. Okay, they will, and you play some quality competition.
Not DJ Murray.
Nah, it's a DJ something. It's not Murray though.
Yeah, that's the
I knew it
kid
was DJ.
I'll say DJ Murray is that writer.
Yeah,
but either way, you know, like I think if first of all
DJ
schools,
Wright.
yeah, DJ Wright, all schools provide you a quality education. Many Division III schools, you're going there because you love playing ball and you want to still be, you still want to play. And the thing about it, when you talk about education, you talk about you probably don't realize that there's actually a lot of people. You know, we all pay attention to TV stuff, and one of the anchors from ABC News went to a Division III school. And for example, I'll give you the name of the school. Ithaca College is one of the top 3 broadcasting schools in the entire country. All right. And people don't know that if you're trying to get into that. They also have one of the top 2 theatrical schools. So you have guys who are playing D3 up there in upstate New York, and they're playing, and sometimes some of them will get an opportunity to play overseas. Small number, but it's opportunities. But they'll be able to move on to their next professional career, whatever they may major in, if they go to the correct one. I mean, Emory is a great academic Division III school, and people fail to realize you got tons of people walking out of there.
So is Oglethorpe.
Right. And Oglethorpe has more connections inside, as much connections inside the perimeter as Georgia Tech does. And they produce just as many millionaires.
I think that's the thing that people lose when we start talking about Oglethorpe, when we start talking about Emory. These are
you got big money as well.
Not just good academic opportunities, amazing academic opportunities. And when we're not talking about broke schools either. Like, we're talking about schools that have a lot of money.
Yes.
So if you walk inside Emory, if you haven't been, you know, if you walk inside Emory and see what their facilities look like, what the campus looks like, same thing with
the art.
Like, this is like, it's hard to beat.
And
so
just the clientele, the other people around campus.
Right.
You know, because you may be just with an athlete, and you may be a basketball player, you may be whatever sport you happen to play, but the kid that's hanging out in the dorms with you, their pops may be a multimillionaire.
Or they may be very soon.
We are talking about Emory, but I don't know anybody who's gone to Emory to play basketball. Do you guys?
No, but I know several who've gone to Oglethorpe to play
Yeah,
basketball.
I know who played at Emory. Chad that runs Atlanta Lightning.
Yes, Hickson. I didn't realize. That's right. No,
you went. Any kids that you've covered in the last 4 years?
No.
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
I've seen many who've been offered, but they've taken another route, either to another Division III route or just gone to a Division I level school just to go to school as a student.
No, multiple kids that, like you said, went to Oglethorpe though. Actually, the kid from Kennesaw, the shoot combo guard from Kennesaw Mountain, went to Oglethorpe.
Oglethorpe tends to be at a lot of events. You tend to see them a lot.
They recruited. Ryan Hart is starting to get out too.
Ryan Hart,
Piedmont
is always out.
Piedmont is always out.
Oh, those schools beat the bushes, especially Oglethorpe and Piedmont. Like, I know that they've been kicking the bushes for a while, and they do well finding the kids that fit. As Huff mentioned here earlier in one of the messages, is finding a fit, and they find kids that fit what they want within their program.
I think we're getting a lot of feedback about Emory. Great institution.
Yes, they do recruit nationally.
Reinhardt is in AI. Great opportunity. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's another program that we don't mention much, but I know a lot about them. Broome Parker. Broome Parker has a JV program that a ton of kids end up playing JV they freshman and sophomore year, then end up being on the varsity team.
What's the Josh Butts? What school does he go to? He played with that going. I can't think of the school name. So I can find it.
I think while we're looking for that though, I think the point of the last two kind of topics that we've been on is it's not too late if you're
Right.
open-minded
Not
to
too late.
if you
Yeah.
want to go to college and play at the next level. It's not too late.
No, definitely
Like
not.
Locke said, it may be definitely harder to go Division One, but if you ask most of these kids why they want to go Division One, they can't even tell you necessarily why they want to go there. Why is that better than a Division Two for them or Division?
Carson Newman.
Yeah.
If you look at fit, and you're thinking about just wanting to go to college and play at the next level, or just bettering yourself and bettering your situation, then there will be opportunities. We'll get 2 live periods again in April. Coaches will be out, right? People will be looking for players even in April. There will be opportunities, but are
Yeah,
you
I think there'll
open
be
to the opportunities that come your way? That's going to be the key.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's tough.
Definitely
And
tough.
I think if you are really, if the child or the player, whatever, if they really want to consider pursuing basketball and continuing on, they have to be open to all options.
Yeah.
You have to
Have to
Yep.
be.
Most
Because-
guys are going to level down.
Yeah, and what happens anyway is if you are blessed and so fortunate to get to the professional level, you don't really have a choice. You know what I mean? You sign a contract where you are offered and you go. It's
Yeah,
kind
you
of
don't got an option.
so it's kind of you know what I mean. So it's kind of almost the same thing. Like you have to you got to be open.
Speaking of the professional level, Bryce, we've got Summer League.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody keeping up with
Yeah, I've been watching.
yeah.
Shout out to Sharif Cooper.
Hey.
You know who we're not talking about enough, who I think deserves it, is Bobo. That dude is crazy.
Hey, he's been playing well.
It's really good.
Hey,
I watched Houston yesterday with the 2 rookies. They're going to be entertaining and fun to watch for sure. Josh Christopher and Jalen Green.
Jalen Green, Houston Rockets.
Yeah,
Jalen Green's ready to play in the NBA.
Jalen Green, I like that kid. He
Jalen
is
Green is
know
ready.
how to get a bucket. He know how to get a bucket. He wiry, and I like how they drafted them too, and they're almost like yin and yang, like they're different. You know what I mean? Like one's a thicker guard, more physical, and one's a wiry guard, and just can play, handle the ball. So I think they're gonna be real fun to watch for a long time.
What takeaways, like what do you guys feel like? I know a lot of people feel like, oh, Summer League, I'm not paying attention to this, but what do you guys take away from Summer League?
What I took away today, I think I text you guys this. It's so hard to get in the league. You see somebody like Kenneth Fareed participating in Summer League, who was an all-star and has a gold medal.
It's hard once you out. It's hard to get back in, baby.
Yeah. It
It's
kind
hard
of
to
looked
get back in.
like the game kind of passed him too. He kind of struggling a little bit from what I've seen. Like, I noticed what I noticed was watching Scotty Barnes, and I think he's going to be a really good NBA basketball player.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
the NBA is much better for him than any other level, if that makes sense.
no, absolutely.
Hey, you know-
He's going to bring versatility and that dog that he's always had in him. He's just going to bring that with him. That's what he knows how to do.
Yeah. I think Florida State did a good job with him, letting him play the point guard.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of weird. I know people are going to get mad at what I'm about to say, and I don't like player comparisons. That ain't my thing.
Here you go.
I don't. But he kind of gave me Rasheed Wallace vibes.
I could see that.
Lord,
what
disrespect.
But I mean, he's gonna provide. Again, I still think Toronto should have taken Suggs, but they like who they like. You know what I'm saying? And they're in those rooms, and he's fitting exactly what they want to be done. One thing about the summer league. Someone had put it out there. I forget who it was, and I'm not going to even pretend to know the name, but they just said, unfortunately, bigs are out there just doing cardio. And you look at the bigs, and we talk about, kids don't know how to make entry passes at the high school level. Then that carries on in some cases at the collegiate level. In the pros, them bigs is having to go to the glass and get it themselves, as
Man,
opposed to actually having anything set up for them.
they ain't making no entry feeds to
None.
that.
None.
You got to you got to have that Mike Beasley in your game where you can come out to that short corner of that wing and get a bucket and jab, because they not giving no ball to the low post. That shit crazy.
No, sir.
Nah.
No, sir.
I think I've seen a couple of bigs be productive, but only a couple.
Who?
I think Houston has one.
Mobley?
No. He's with the Cavs, and I like him too.
Yeah.
No, you're talking about the Turkish kid.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
But it's the bigs that I've seen that have been playing well are ones that are multifaceted, ones that can pick and pop, that can fade.
You're talking about the Turkish dude that he's like 19 years old and was going at Evan Mobley.
Line?
Yeah, and then there's another one who signed with Miami, who that joker dropped 92 in the Turkish league or 91. Yeah, and he signed a 2-way contract. So those are the few and far in between, because the rest of them are just out there running.
Yeah, Obi Toppin has been solid. He's been solid, but yeah, not a lot.
Good yesterday.
What my thing? What I notice is, it's a big difference between a first year and a second year player, and it just showed how valuable that experience of being in the league is. When I see like Jordan Nora, Emmanuel Quickly, those guys are playing really well. Peyton Pritchard, how well he's playing, leading the summer league in assists, like that year in the league. And not to say those guys couldn't play. Jordan Nora could play at Louisville, but he just won. I look at, like, we called out Cam Reddish for not playing, or it was mentioned to us that Cam Reddish was not playing. Jordan Nora just came off and just won a NBA championship playing with the Bucks, and he's out there hooping. Peyton Pritchard out there hooping. Emmanuel Quickly got run with the Knicks. He's out there playing. Second leading scorer in summer league. I feel like there are valuable reps for guys. Obi Toppin is another guy that I feel like valuable reps. Patrick Williams, another guy out there getting valuable reps and playing a lot of minutes in summer league. But a big difference between first year and second year guys. Defensively, those first year guys are just really trying to figure it out. Like, you can't just get by people like you're used to being able to get by people. Like, that's just not happening. But the Georgia guys seem to be playing really well. Okoro, everything 1 through 4.
I think, when it comes to this year in this summer league and the way the order of the draft, I think it actually played out the way it was supposed to. You know what I mean? Yep. And now obviously it's early, but we always have somebody that goes too high or something like that, or too low. I kind of think that the numbers were actually right on point, like to where they were supposed to go, and their performances are matching where they were drafted. Like Jalen Green is, you know what I mean? Like him and Cade they're going back and forth. They're 1 and 2. Mobley is right there, 3. You can see why he went 3rd behind them. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that was my other thing. Like that, okay, the draft is actually, it's making sense.
Guys did what they were supposed to do. I think even the Hawks with drafting Sharif, I think we all felt that was a little low for him, but he went to the perfect situation. He went someplace where they understand how to use him because they have Trae Young. And, are you comparing Sharif to Trae Young? No. They're not identical, but there's a lot of similarities in the way that they play the game. if you can't be physical with Trae Young, in the same way that people were in college, especially later on in the season, you can't guard him. And I'm seeing a lot of that with Sharif. If you can't be physical with him, you can't put your hands on him, you can't bump him off his line.
He's hard to guard.
But you know what? He's gotten
to
stronger.
the free throw line.
If you look at his pictures and watch him play, his body's gotten bigger. He's bigger. He's more physical. So I don't even think that's going to matter as much. I think honestly with him, I think it's him. You know what I mean? Like some people, the only people that can stop them is them. I think he's kind of that case. Like, we know what he can do. And I think the only thing that can stop him is his shooting has to improve. We know that, and he's shooting the ball better. Like he hit a game winner. So with him, I don't think it's anybody that can really. He's gonna be able to get around you. He's gonna be able to split the trap. He's gonna be able to. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
I think it's gonna come to fit. I could definitely see Sharif leaving the Hawks when it's contract time because drafted in the second round. The Hawks can only give him so much. But I think it's going to be about fit for him. But, he's looked good. Kyra Lewis has made plays. Yeah. Isaiah Miller has made some plays.
Hey, do y'all see Jello ball in the league?
Why he got so many tats, bro? He looks ridiculous.
He had those tats before. He didn't just show up in the NBA G League. Summer League with tattoos. He's had those.
What is the movie with Adam Sandler and they playing and it's like the jail dudes playing again? Like he look like he belongs.
The football movie.
I think he can play, but it's like, bro, you look crazy. You kind of look crazy to me. Like his tattoos don't even have no like. They're just a bunch of tattoos.
I think he's gonna have to continue to prove it.
Man, he ain't making the league, bro. That shit ain't happening.
I think he's gonna have to. Well, I think he could.
I think he can.
Will Kobe Simmons ever get another shot in the league? I think he could.
I think he's at the right spot to get another shot in the league.
Yeah, but I think with Jello, he's gonna have to take the Kobe Simmons route, where you're gonna have to go to the G League, and you're gonna have to ball, and you're gonna have to prove it, and you're gonna have to be consistent. And really show that you can do it and get with the right franchise, right, that has a spot for you. But I definitely think he can. But I think he's going to have to do more than play summer league. He's going to have to prove it in the G League.
Yeah, and I think too with the NBA, it's more about people being specialists. And I think he really specialized that he can knock down shots.
He can shoot it. Speaking of shooting, your guy at Washington B has been shooting it. Crispert.
Yeah, and I try to explain to these casual basketball fans why they drafted him, and even in our group chat, I said, you know what, I'm okay with that pick because of who they got for the trade. So they brought in Kuz, they brought in all those wings and length and so on and so forth, and then they drafted Isaiah Todd. What didn't they get? Well, they didn't get somebody who can spread the floor in that mix, so I was okay with it. Honestly, the Wizards have a good team. They got a team. So I was okay with that pick. And I think people were like, well, why would you not draft somebody more athletic so high in the draft? But I think it made sense.
He's a little better defensively. After watching him, he's a little better defensively than I gave him credit for, too. Bryce,
and we had the debate about, okay, what's the difference between him and Gordon Hayward coming out of Butler? Gordon Hayward,
he's a specialist. Gordon Hayward
and at Butler was more athletic, could put the ball on the floor a little bit better, so on and so forth. But now Gordon Hayward is what Cody Kispert is going to be in the league, right? Shooting kind of kid, shooting guard, whatever you want to call him, So
guys, I want to ask y'all this question last week, since we just ended ANU in the summer basketball. What was y'all funnest and biggest moments from this past summer?
Honestly, I enjoyed watching some 21s who we didn't you don't get to see a lot or what have you. Take advantage of the moment, take advantage of the stage, because they didn't have a platform, because they didn't get a chance to play the previous summer. Now, some of them abused it and still got nothing. All right. So, some of them were just playing as late as last week, but it still got nothing. Um, but then also seeing like the Braden Pierce literally develop before your eyes. Isaiah Nelson developed right before your eyes.
Yeah.
If you watch those guys, and I'm a little biased when it comes to big, so please forgive me. Those two made some strides from when you watch them during the season to the very last travel ball game, in the last live period. Those guys made transitions in their development as players that did attract a lot of college coaches, especially those looking for length. And
a lot of guys laughed at me years ago.
Oh no, absolutely.
Both guys, both players called them out on this show.
Yeah, I mean, and I got to see, and like I said, returning back in November when I did, and being able to see those two, I'm like, dude, if you're looking for the instant production, you might not get it when it comes to those two, right? But a lot of the schools who have made offers to those guys see the long game. Pause. You know what I'm saying? They see their future and the potential that they can be. Because the one thing you can't teach, and it's the cliche, is you can't teach height. And in certain, like in Braden's point, you can't teach the skill that young man has. And then when it comes to Isaiah Nelson, you cannot teach the motor and the desire to block shots like he has.
And he has fun doing it.
Yes, and has fun doing it. So those are the two for me were my two special gems that I enjoyed watching this summer.
Speaking on Braden Harris, or not Braden Harris, Braden Sparks. I'm tripping. Braden Sparks. I think he is a point guard that is highly under recruited. I'm going to say that. No, he does not play on my team. He does not play for me. I'm not saying that to plug him or whatever. I think he's that good.
I think you're right.
I think he's better than. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
That's a Team Carroll kid, right?
I want to make sure you get credit for that.
That's the Team Carroll kid.
No, that's the kid at McKeecher.
He started.
Yeah, he played a Team Carroll. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. He played a Team Carroll.
Yeah, he started with Team Forest and ended up with Team Carroll. But and
he's undervalued. I'll be honest with you. He's undervalued.
This is the same thing I said at Chris Watkins' camp, that kid is better than people are. He's not getting the credit for how good he is.
Yes.
But aside from that, I think obviously one of my most favorite moments was beating the Knight Riders. Anytime you're an independent team and you beat a shoe team, they kind of walk in the gym, especially them, because they got all these 5-star kids or whatever. And they were like, oh, well, we ain't really got no game. Nah, we about to play, bro. We gonna play. And we did everything we supposed to do. And I'll say my other probably fondest moment. I personally enjoy when kids commit and sign and go on campus. So Chase, that to me, it was really enjoyable. And seeing how much he played with us and what he's gonna do with the next level, that was cool for me. And all the other kids, not just him, just kind of I enjoy it. In case you haven't known and recognized or seen it on Twitter, I like to announce when kids commit. Whether it's junior college, D1, D2, D3, that's just my thing. So I enjoy it because I feel like all the hard work and sacrifice, especially with somebody like Chase, because we really with him, he really didn't have anything. Like from we got him from the beginning, from You know what I mean? At his junior year, and we took a risk on him. He took a risk on us. And I told him, and I told his parents, I said he got to play better. He's got to play harder. He's got to be a dog. He's got to be a leader. And many times I sat him down. I got criticized for it. I got called for it. We lost a lot of games.
Who called you, Bryce?
Everybody called me. Anybody in his camp called me. But I said, and I stuck with it. Hey man, he ain't playing hard enough. He's not giving me that confidence. I need him to have that confidence. I need him to run the team. When he finally got it, I said, okay, yeah, he's getting it. He got it. And then when you see him get it, and then he commits, especially to a D2 SIAC,
Yeah,
that's big time. I don't think that is big time. So for me, that was, seeing those kids commit, man. That's kind of like, that's my thing. That's what I enjoy. And not, like I said, not just him. We had Makai Vassell and Elijah Phillips and a whole bunch of other guys that are, going on campus. So,
yeah. What you got, Dre?
For me, I think we talked about this on the last show. One of the things that I enjoyed the most was just looking at what Georgia basketball is, the platform, the vehicle that has been created here, and just enjoying the fact that we have something that very few states in the entire country have. And I think sometimes we take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at the amount of media coverage that comes out of the state, the amount of talent going through the summer, dapping up all the trainers, the coaches that make this platform what it is, make Georgia basketball what it is. There's a reason why, like I'll say this, there's a reason why when Overtime created their elite league, they decided to invest in Georgia and build a facility in Georgia, right? They understand that this is the pulse of grassroots basketball. And there are very few places that can duplicate what we do. And that's something to, I really enjoyed that, seeing everybody around. I really enjoyed it.
It was definitely fun to see those coaches back in the bleachers.
Yes, it was. And actually, I forgot to mention one other kid, the kid that just committed to Georgia State from Chicago, Amari Aguilar. Like, that's a kid that, again, he came here with nothing because of COVID, even though he had some schools before COVID hit. But again, everyone got affected by it. And he's now at Georgia Southern. And to your point, Dre, is, you had enough media down here to be able to publicize that kid, along with Recruit Looks, who partnered with Sean to be able to bring that kid down this way, or their program, convince their program this is where they needed to be during the live.
Yo.
Hey,
you gotta be the OG to know who this is.
Is that the juice? Is that the juice girl? Hold on, who that?
No, that's
Bryce being the police.
Yo, you messy, Bryce.
Oh, my bad.
Messy, boy.
Always the
Dang.
My bad, shorty. My bad. Hey, I'm gonna be over. Hey, tell him I'm gonna be over there later on, though. I'm gonna stop by. It's been a minute.
So let's talk about this. No, guys, we get a lot of
do my
questions
favorite
about
moments.
Yeah, you haven't done yours. We waiting on you.
That's the point guard, man. That's Dre for you.
Turn the ball over, man.
My first one is being a head coach and letting Bryce be my assistant coach.
Hey, hold on though. Hold on a minute on that one.
How did that
say
go?
Something. When it came that, first of all, let me tell you how kids are nowadays. I'm not gonna say the word. We got a last game alive period, last game ever alive period for the whole summer. You got South Florida there, and the list
Georgia
goes on
Tech,
and on.
yeah.
We play at 6:00. These dudes walk in at 6:05. The game is like tied. So yeah, I'm the assistant, but who drew up the game-winning play for the dunk?
Hey, that's why we work. Hey, but yeah, that so I had my
Hey,
own
who's a better
team.
assistant, Locke, you or Bryce?
Me, of course.
But he is, because I get a little too antsy because I be wanting to slide back over into that first chair. But I do like the second chair though, because it's less pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and you can kind of relax a little bit. When you standing up in that first chair, you gotta like really be locked in, and then you really be wanting to win. But like if you the second chair and you lose, you be like, we lost. It is what it is. Ain't that big of a deal. It wasn't my loss. So
that was the first thing. Just having my own team, coaching for 2 weeks. And just ain't like I say, I did when something need to be done. I say, I looked at Bryce, I do your job. I do all the talking, but do your job. And the second thing, how a ton of the players outside the metro area got a lot of buzz. Like EJ Brown brought the kids out of South Georgia. Dre, you had a ton of kids. You had Ice Burnett. You had Leland. You had him. So I think that's what I enjoyed the most about this summer, seeing a ton of kids getting tweets, getting looked by college coaches outside of the area.
Yep.
It was definitely great to watch. My 2023s really grew up in a lot of ways this year. Still got a long way to go, but they really grew up this year. I appreciate Sean for that kicking ass, challenging us to go play 17U.
Do you think you finally got your just due, and for what you guys did in the spring? Do you think you got it in the summer?
No, but I don't care anymore.
It doesn't matter anyway, right?
No, it doesn't. I don't think it doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't.
What this season really did for me was more sharpen my focus and why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because nobody can take away. I have great relationships with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one thing. After I took a break and kind of got away from my phone, got away from social media so much, got away from things, was one of the things that I took away is like, the relationship that and the bond that developed between the guys that I was able to coach, even guys that I coached for a short period of time. Like there's no replacing that. You know what I mean? We can't tell kids things about relationships and then overlook the relationships that we have with the kids that we coach.
Yeah.
And I was happy to be a part of it. I hope I got them better, but they definitely made me better this year. They definitely made me better.
There is a real genuine relationship and trust among the summer coaches and the kids that play for them, especially the ones that do well and get to the next level. Because I do believe that those summer coaches are just as tough on those kids as anybody else is. But when you're able to lead them and guide them and help them get to college for free, even like I still have kids all the time that hit me up like, yo, I'm coming back home. I'm coming to get tatted. Let's get in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying that type of stuff to anybody else. You know what I mean? So we have real conversations and real relationships that, like, of course, our AAU coaches, there's AAU coaches and summer coaches that can coach at the highest level. There's coaches that could be, wherever they are, they could be doing more than AAU basketball.
True.
You know what I mean? But you can't take away those relationships. So, people can say what they want, but it's like there's nothing, that bond is different, bro. Trust me, it's different. Like, and
Definitely.
the way I look at it is like every time a kid commits, it's like, damn, I got like 40, 35 nephews. You know what I'm saying? Like really, because we spending that whole summer with them. It's hot as hell, and we in the gym grinding, trying to get the job done. And I'm on your ass all day. But then when it works out for you, you like, damn, he really, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I said, there could be coaches and media, there could be other places, they could be doing other things, making more money, probably, maybe, but there's some things that you can't take away, that you can't put a price tag on. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big thing about, like, in July. I think that's a huge thing. And even with one of the kids we had that's going JUCO, he was like, man, we had told him for months, like, bro, you have to pass the ball, bro. And finally, he's like, man, I just never had anybody tell me that I had to pass. Like, I thought it was AAU basketball. I didn't think I had to. I thought I was here to kind of just do what I want. And they're like, no, bro, you have to pass because people are evaluating you still. And because we kept it a buck with him and told him that, he ended up having more respect for us than he probably has had for anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that you can't take that. There's nothing you can do. You can't take that away from us. Can't take that away from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, okay. Like, so I think that was a big thing that I've taken away from all this too.
I miss going to breakfast with my team, man. Like, that was the first thing after this was over that I missed. We played a lot of 9:00, 8:30 games in the morning, then we have a break. Just to be able to sit and eat with those kids and just have a regular conversation. Wendy's hitting the 4 for 4s, like those things between games is what I miss. Like those guys. People kind of miss the fact that these kids have real challenges. They have real stuff going on. On the floor or on or off the floor. I think Alfonso talked about it too, where people have to kind of not just see where a kid is. Like, it's so hard for me talking to some of these coaches when they say, is he an impact player? Can he come and help me right now? No, he's not. But you're going to want him his junior year. You're going to wish you recruited him. He's going to be all conference. And that, not only when I say no to a coach, a lot of times it's not just because of what the kid can or can't do on the floor to help you. Off the floor, these kids have challenges and they're working to become better people. And I think we miss that. Basketball is helping teach accountability, responsibility, integrity. Is teaching these kids things that make them better as human beings. And that work is not always a quick flip. A lot of times, as Willie would say, that's a slow grind. To turn a young man into a man, a fully developed man. And you have to be able to see things in a kid or see potential in a kid off the floor the same way you would on the floor. And you got to believe in it. And you got to be committed to it. So those are the things I feel like, help me the most, man. I can't, I'm on vacation right now, but as soon as I get back, I've been staying away from my phone as much as possible.
Oh, you've been on PTO. No wonder you've been.
He went MIA. He went MIA last Saturday. He didn't come down to Albany.
Man, I was sick as a dog.
You know what, bro? Hey, but me and Dre both had like terrible headaches at the same time. That shit was crazy, bro. Because I was about to go down to the AEBL and watch them games, and I just could not get up. My head was hurting so bad. Like,
fam, I had another one yesterday that had me curled up in a ball. I wanted to shoot myself in the face. My head hurt so bad.
Y'all gotta put that beef and pork down, man.
Nah, I don't eat none of that. It wasn't. You know what happened to me?
Hey, y'all see, I'm eating strawberries, man. I moved away from eating candy.
I woke up and went on like a 1.5 mile run in the morning, and I was just dehydrated, and then like that shit just went down from there. I don't eat beef. I don't eat none of that shit.
But it looks like the Celtics been eating a lot of. Orlando's out here struggling. 106-63, taking this thrashing right now.
Oh, yo, You know what y'all need to catch out? I watched it last night. Y'all need to watch the Malice in the Palace on Netflix.
Yes, I watched it. Very good.
It's only an hour long, but it's very, very good.
Extremely good.
And you know what I peeped, Fonzo, when I was watching it? I seen the score in the fourth quarter. It was like 50 to 60 something.
It was defensive issues, man. Yeah.
I missed a lot of these.
But
Questions?
Analyze and
I missed a lot of comments in here.
right. So
Okay.
especially now with, like you said, with
But
analytics
that-
and technology.
that documentary is really, really good. They really break down.
That was a different NBA, man. That was a different NBA.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys playing in the NBA now that would not be able to survive that NBA
No.
because Ron Artest was different.
Dude. It was crazy. But you just seen how I forgot how big Ben Wallace really was.
Yeah, he was Aki, B.
And the way he pushed Ron Artest, and Ron Artest ain't no little dude.
Ron Artest, 6'7", 6'8", grown man of muscles.
And he pushed Ron Artest like he was lightweight.
Burke, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that I think what we did and is what we do in a lot of situations. We violently overcorrect, and I think that's what the NBA did. Instead of just fixing the problem, they went way overboard and trying to correct the problem. But does anybody have words of encouragement for Dennis Schroeder?
Yeah, he hustling backwards, and I don't know how they do it overseas. I know most guys overseas like to get their money, but I did see a video of him skateboarding, so he might be joining X Games after this year.
Yeah, I think that too.
So I don't understand who advised him. He needs to go ahead and get rid of his agent today.
I'm hearing he advised himself that he wanted to get
that's even worse.
agent.
That's even worse.
And did that to himself.
Because again, I understand what you may be in another part of the world, another part of the country, and next thing you know, you tell yourself, nah, I'm going to leave the Lakers. Don't want the Lakers money at 80 and change because I think I need to get 100 and change for what? What has he done to get 100 and change?
Turned down 4 years, 84 million. And I just want to bring up something that maybe people have forgotten. But this is not the first time that we've seen this happen. If y'all remember, Latrell Sprewell turned down 4 years, and Latrell had more of a reason to do it than what Schroeder did.
Okay, I was about to say, because you can't put them in the same sentence.
For Sprewell, Sprewell got a boatload of money for the Knicks. The Knicks always overpay.
Of course.
And they gave Latrell a boatload of money. This was back in, I think, 06, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's coming off a big deal. And then he gets the offer, I think it was from, from Dallas? 4 years, 21 million, 4 years, 27 million, something like that. And he says, hell no, I got kids to feed. Like the famous line, I got to feed my family. I can't do it. And, never played in the league again. So
part of it, he did try to choke PJ Carlissimo, though. So.
Yeah.
It wasn't because he turned down the money. He finished out in Minnesota, but that was part of the reason.
Right. And here's the thing though. They lowballed him on that offer after he helped them get to the Western Conference Finals. Now couldn't get past LA.
It's business.
Helped them get to the Western Conference Finals, then they lowballed him on the offer. But like you said, it is business, and how you carry yourself off the floor a lot of times impacts how much money you get. It's not just about who you can play. Speaking of, Monte Ellis is trying to get back into the league after 4 years off.
Gonna be tough.
Oof.
Hey man, hey, you sound like Gucci man.
That's tough right now.
It's gonna be tough. But when you take that attitude and specifically what Latrell Sprewell said was, why would I take this deal and help them? I'm not helping them. I got a family. I got kids to feed. That was his. And I wonder if that played a part into what Schroeder was looking at of, like this may be I think he may have looked at it as a friendly deal for the Lakers.
No, I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but he's got to look at the market. And
100%.
And he's got to understand what it is. I mean, yes, I can appreciate him being like, yo, I'm not being paid my value. I get that. And that's everyone's own perception of themselves. But he's also got to look at, wait a minute, let me look around and look at all these all-star guards, all these guys here, all these guys there. I mean, shoot, he betted on himself, and boy, did he lose some money. I mean, he's barely gonna make $6. He barely gonna make $6.
Yeah.
And go from LA and sunny beaches and skateboarding to Boston, Massachusetts, and snow and Irish pubs, baby.
I would love to see Isaiah Thomas back
Dude.
in the game as we get that question up. And
That man is on a mission.
I want to make sure that I take a shot at the Celtics every time I get the opportunity, because genius tag around and everybody over there was a genius and look at all of this. Well, you drafted a worse version of Isaiah Thomas and Carson Edwards, who's playing well. No shots to him. I didn't mean for him to catch a stray. Carson Edwards is playing well.
You just clipped him in the hip. You just clipped him in the hip, baby.
Isaiah Thomas light.
Yeah.
He's Isaiah Thomas light. And I would love to see the Celtics give Isaiah Thomas some love, because he still can play, and they jerked him out of the deal that he should have gotten.
Yeah.
As you see, Bryce is
Isaiah Thomas is still an NBA player. Now we can argue over what his role is.
Why? Because he went to the ABL and dropped 65?
No, he went to J crossover and dropped 81.
So that means he's an NBA player?
Dude, this kid is an NBA player, dude.
I felt like he was an NBA player last year. I mean, he can play.
He's an NBA player.
What happened to his body
he's an NBA player, but when you can invest in a younger guy, that's usually what happens.
So here's my thing, right? And this is why I will continue to say the Boston Celtics will never be relevant again until Ainge and the rest of those guys are out of there. My same issue with, to me, I think the Knicks handled this better than the Celtics did. But the same reason why I say the Cleveland Cavaliers will never be good. If you can't take care of your own people and you can't do straight business, at the end of the day, you're not going to get the big time free agents and all that stuff. You're not going to get it. I.e. the Chicago Bulls have been paying the Jordan price for how long now? You broke up that team. You didn't want to pay money. You didn't want to take care of guys. How long have they been paying that price? The Celtics are going to pay that price. I mean, you talked this dude out of – he could have sat down and left you for dead and went and got surgery and took care of himself and did what he needed to do and still been playing. But he sacrificed his body for the good of the team. You don't reward that at all. Right? Like whether people like it or not, I feel like that says something to other players in the league, because they know that could just as easily be them.
Man, I think you guys are being a little nice, though, to be honest. Like,
no, I mean, look at how Miami handled D-Wade. D-Wade did whatever he wanted to do.
Adonis Haslam is still getting a check, baby.
That's
Adonis Haslam still getting a check. They're loyal to the people who sacrifice and make sacrifices.
Listen, unfortunately, you're right to have your beef, but because of like what Bryce said, They got a chance to get somebody younger, not necessarily mean it's always better. Got younger or was able to flip and get some other guys to come in that, again, it didn't necessarily work, but franchises do it all the time, sadly. I think he's, I saw something via Twitter that someone was like, they're concerned about him just trying to find himself away from the game of basketball, which is a difficult thing for a lot of guys who played at the high level.
Doing his whole life.
You know what I mean? So, and especially a guy who, he's gone to these pro-am leagues and has done extremely well. But it's the part is when do you stop and when do you just give it all up? Because there's the old adage, you play as long as your body allows you to play, right? So his body, when he was in his first stop in the NBA, allowed him to play as long as at that moment. And then the Celtics, then he went, Celtics, Lakers, New Orleans, or New Orleans, Lakers? Which way?
I think it was Sacramento too.
Yeah, so
Sacramento.
it's Sacramento. This was Sacramento, Boston.
No, it was Sacramento, Phoenix, Boston, Cleveland, then Los Angeles, then Denver, then Washington.
Yeah, so I mean, he had spots to try to prove what he's doing now. I mean, he had spots. Unfortunately,
I don't know that again.
Right, and that's also
Sacramento.
Like, we have to. Locke made a point earlier that Kenneth Faried is playing in G League.
Yes,
the NBA and basketball in general is humble. It's a humbling thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like he could play for a team and be a good backup, but like I said, there's dudes that are young that I don't know, man.
Yeah,
but you look at even some of when we talked about earlier about the summer league, there's a lot of guys on these summer league rosters who we watched play college and high school ball, who you're like, dang, they're not even gonna make that squad.
Yeah.
Or you hope that they're able to get on somewhere, or hopefully they got an agent that'll allow them to land in a spot where they'll feel comfortable at. But there's a lot of them out there. So then you throw some veteran like IT out there. I mean, I want Jamal Crawford to come back, but I also know nobody's gonna pick him up.
That's what I'm saying. If you talk about people who deserve chances, Jamal Crawford still got a bunch of skill. Freaking Mike Beasley, like, I mean, that's what I say. Like, how you just all of a sudden say
that's a gamble with Mike Beasley.
Yeah, because he a head case. But I'm saying, as far as people still having skill, being older, or at a certain people point in their career, how are you saying that he deserves a shot, but others don't? They're all not in the league for pretty much the same reason.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying that others don't deserve a shot. I'm just rooting for IT because his problem wasn't his own, right?
Yeah.
He did what we asked players to do.
Which was what? What did he do?
He gave up his body for the franchise. He gave up his body at a chance to win a title, to try to beat LeBron. He gave up his body for them, for the same people who turned their back on him after they, you know what I mean? Like, he went through and exacerbated his injury for them.
But let me ask you this. Anytime a player steps on the floor for that organization, that professional team, aren't they giving up their body?
No, he could have done what Shaq did. I got hurt on company time. I'm gonna recover on company time. He was the best player on the team.
I think another thing we ain't looked at, his sister died while he was in the NBA.
Made the ultimate sacrifice, playing for them.
Playing for Boston, that does something to you mentally. You know,
gave up everything.
Jordan had to take 2 years off after his dad died. So the same thing, that does something to you mentally. Like, he probably stopped loving the game.
And that happens.
Yeah.
That happens. You know, that happens. It's just, and I hate it because, dude, it broke my heart having, the fact that he lost his sister and he literally, instead of packing it up and going to the funeral, doing he chose to stick around and stay. I get that. I mean, it's sometimes some people are. It's what have you done for me lately?
And so, Huff, to answer the question, I'm saying to get better, you have to be loyal. Right. Again, I'm going to point to Chicago. I'm going to point to New York. I'm going to point to the struggles that Boston's having right now. You're not going to get guys if there's a reason why the Miami Heat will always be good. Players are always going to come there. They have that reputation as a franchise that if you come here and you do well, we're going to take care of you. The Dallas Mavericks they will only ever drop so far because Mark Cuban has that perception, that reputation for I'm gonna take care of my guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take care of if you come here and you perform, there's gonna be so much money offered to you, even off the floor, other opportunities, gonna take care of my guys. You can't people think these owners and GMs, they think you can just treat people however you want. And you can, but there's a price to pay for that because now who's coming?
Shoot, man.
Right, on you.
I said, yeah, that's true. Your points are valid. But if you're looking at somebody like the Lakers who just signed a bunch of 30-some-year-olds, and everybody's like, well, you're too old. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yep. And
then you got guys in the G League trying to get a chance that might really be able to help you. You know what I mean? So it's a tough situation, man. I'm not saying he's not an NBA player because anybody who can drop 81 and 65 and this and that, like, okay, we know you can hoop, bro. Like, we not doubting that, but can you perform at that level in the league?
And this is a nice comment to Kawhi Leonard. After the situation at the Spurs, which I think ultimately led him to leave San Antonio, after they mishandled his injury, Kawhi Leonard's like, if I'm in pain, I'm not playing. Come playoff time, my body's gonna be right. I'm gonna do it, but like, yeah, he's not giving up his body for the team. And if that trust is not there, then I certainly understand why.
Yo, that's crazy.
The crazy thing is, I wouldn't even be upset if the Lakers signed him and gave him a spot because there are teams that could use a point guard. But again, like, the league is different, bro. And you have to look and see if the person meets the qualifications for the job. Like, and I don't think it should be based off of summer league shit. Like,
hey, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm gonna base off summer league, and y'all can tell me I'm crazy, but yeah, I'm gonna base something off of summer league.
What?
The Golden State Warriors are everything that the Boston Celtics wish they were. The Golden State Warriors have the most players, to me, on their summer league team of any team in the NBA, of guys that can actually make their roster.
Okay.
They got long, they got athletic. They have guys that can really play. You're talking about Kyle Guy, a winner from Virginia, Jonathan Kuminga, long, athletic, playing defense, finishing. Moses Moody, athletic, finishing. Gary Payton II, athletic, finishing. Like, they got guys on there. And I'm not saying all of these guys are going to make the team, but out of all the summer league I've watched, they have the most guys on their summer league team that have an opportunity to make their roster.
That's crazy. Hey, I ain't mean to cut you off. Did Jaden Springer get drafted?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Okay, I'm watching them now.
Yep.
Oh, the first assist goes to Sharif Cooper to Jalen Johnson. Shout out to her.
Sharif balling. Almost 8 assists a game in summer league. He's hooping. Sharif is being Sharif.
Man.
Hey, before we go, J.R. Smith is going to North Carolina A&T. He's going to be playing golf, or he's petitioning the NCAA to be allowed to play golf. I know, right? I'm a grown man. I shouldn't have to. But anybody got any thoughts on J.R. Smith going to North Carolina A&T?
I feel like that's
He's
good.
enrolled at the school
It's
already.
stupid that people think he's gonna take somebody's scholarship.
That is dumb.
My thing is this: none of those people had the same energy when Chris Winkie was stinking it up for the Yankees, all right, playing AAA or minor league baseball, and then he decides to suit up to play for Florida State.
Florida State,
Nobody had that same energy about, oh, he's taking a scholarship from somebody.
At all.
All right, he might not be. I jokingly asked if he's going to take a scholarship. He more than likely is just going to pay out of pocket and play. You know, and I really think that the NCAA should afford him the opportunity to play golf, especially if there's an opportunity for him to be part of the team. But nobody has those same complaints. Andy Dalton, same thing, played baseball in Toronto. Nobody complained when he went to Texas Christian or wherever he went to school to go play football, and now he's playing professional football. Like, nobody complained.
Yep.
So it's like, I wish some people would just be like, oh, stop with the he's going to take a scholarship from somebody. He was yes, you're right, Doc. He could have drove the team bus, all right, to be able to get the Seminoles to wherever they need to be. Nobody complained. Nobody.
I think it's a great look for multiple reasons. Number one, J.R. Smith is actually a really good golfer. That's number one. Number two, I commend the guy for wanting to go back to school. He said he was talking to Ray Allen, and they were talking about wanting to go back and finish and go get their degree. So he actually he did research and looked up programs and felt like Carolina A&T had the best program for what he wanted to go to school for, and made some phone calls about going back to North Carolina. Like, he's moving to North Carolina to go to school. He's invested in it. He's not getting an honorary degree or anything like that. He's going back to finish his degree, and I think that's admirable, considering that he has a family and all this stuff that he has to handle while he's going to do that. But I think it could help North Carolina A&T. I mean,
him just saying he's going there,
100%.
no different than Chris Paul taking classes online and wearing all of the Winston-Salem State gear is a good look for, again, Winston-Salem, A&T, and any of these other programs, especially the HBCU programs, that these individuals are willing to invest their time to get back onto their campus. And again, not only because of the golf stuff, he's wanting to go there to be able to make a difference for himself and be an example, probably to his own kids and to those who are watching him, because what do many of the kids remember, if they do remember what he's done, is the meme where LeBron James is like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Whereas he goes and he can change that narrative and have a meme or a picture circulate over the internet of not only him helping A&T win the MEAC golf tournament, but try to compete on something on a national level, as you mentioned, because he is a very good golfer. And if he's able to do that, because he did not play no college sport ever, he's got a chance. And again, he deserves that shot.
I think it's great. And as we get ready to kind of close the show, I want to tie it in, but in a different type of way. I was reading an article. I try to research these image and likeness deals as much as possible. There's been a lot of talk about it, but not a lot of information going around. And I found something or saw something that was really cool, so I wanted to share it with you guys. There was a company in Utah, and and a company is called Built Bar, and they use the NIL to basically pay tuition for 36 walk-ons of the BYU football team.
Man, that's a lot of walk-ons.
Walk-ons.
That's the number that stood out to me right there. I'm sorry.
But I thought that was amazing, right? And then it got me to thinking when it came back to J.R. Smith going to North Carolina A&T, I would love to see our guys. It's a way that they can support. We always talk about athletes taking a big role, really supporting HBCUs. This is a way that they can do it without necessarily taking money out of their own pocket. They have such cachet and these great relationships with whether it's sneaker companies or all these other companies that they've done deals with off the floor. I would love to see strategic partnerships be built with these HBCUs using these image and likeness deals to sponsor entire teams, and kind of even the playing field when it comes to some of that financial burden that that HBCUs have. I think this could be a huge blessing if it's used the correct way. Like you said, Chris Paul's been doing it. Winston-Salem State, J.R. Smith now at North Carolina A&T. If we see other guys, I don't want to call out the same names: LeBron, Jay-Z, Puffy, all these guys. But we have a lot of people. I'll call out a name most people may not necessarily know. Junior Bridgman, an incredible businessman, right?
Mm-hmm.
If not a billionaire already, pretty close to it, being a billionaire. But if he decided to use that and bring some of that cachet to Kentucky State and really boost financially that athletic program, I think there are a lot of people who could do that. Chauncey Billups being another great businessman outside of what he did from basketball, that could use that as leverage to really do some great things. This, the image and likeness we always kind of talk about, the Mike Williams of the world and the star players. But I think the guys that aren't stars who can get help by these deals are really, it's a huge win.
I would agree with that. I mean, I would like to see them just being involved in many respects, and and again, especially if there's a lot of guys who don't have a tie to some schools and they're able to go get their degree and make it their own goal of picking an HBCU. It does bring that light to that program. I mean, it's a good example where Steph Curry, he went to Davidson, but Howard's got his back. He backs Howard's golf team. And they're an Under Armour program, but he also backs them. He encourages people to go see them. He wants them to excel in the sport. He provides, like you mentioned, money in his back deals, but of course there's so many other things and many other ways to be able to do that.
For sure. Locke, do we got anything for South? Got something to say this week?
So I went down to EJ Brown's camp this past Saturday, and it's pretty loaded, man. Definitely a ton of kids that I was unaware of that I heard about or I heard their name mentioned around, but I actually to see them. So two of the names that we are familiar with that really stood out, Aaron Banks, Dominique Henderson, of course. A kid that I really stood out to me was Julius King from First Presbyterian. Recently picked up an offer from Plain State. He played really well. Dre, like I said, I mentioned your kid earlier, Lathan Evans, straight dog. Definitely did his thing. My guy Nick Chambliss, he probably was the best shooter in the gym, and he has a 4.0 GPA, about 6'2", 6'3". I think a ton of academic schools need to really keep tabs on him this year. And it's another kid named Telly Wiley. Recently picked up an offer from Enterprise that was pretty good out of Calhoun County. But the guy that's going to make the most noise, I feel like, is a 6'6", 6'7", You didn't hear much about him because he played with Atlanta Express 16U with all the kids from Newton. He goes to Spencer High School. His name is Tyson McDaniel. This kid is going to blow. I feel like if he plays independent next summer, he's going to be a big-time kid. Because I feel like he got pretty overshadowed with playing with all the guys on Atlanta Express 16U. But if this guy plays independent, he's gonna be one of those kids, just like we was talking about, like Isaiah Nelson, where it's just gonna as the summer goes on, when that last period of July hit, all those offers gonna come in for him. So he's definitely a big name that people gonna need to watch out for.
It's a good thing that it's the off season for the AAU, because I just heard you guys make a bid for him, but that's just because that's what it sounded like. He was making a bid for him to join the green and orange.
I reached out to him after the tweet, Lot.
Hey, man,
Reached out to him after the tweet. I trust your eye.
Hey, real hustlers is already recruiting for next year. So.
Hey, listen, I respect it. That's why I said, that's all I heard. I mean, I heard everything he said, but the period at the end was, yo, if he played for independent squad, he gonna blow.
He's gonna blow.
Hey, I like it though. I like it.
It'd be true. Hey, let's go ahead and close, man. Does anybody want to make any like super way early crazy predictions without really seeing the team? Anybody want to make any predictions for the season?
High school?
Dude, I don't care who wins. I just want to see a Newton versus Milton. I don't care if it's a hoops. I don't care what event. I don't care if it's in the state playoffs. I want to see Newton versus Milton.
I agree. Me too.
That's what I want to see.
Anybody else? Anybody want to pick a state champion right now?
Yeah, no.
I got Pace Academy win 3A.
I got Baldwin County going back to back, getting another
If
state
he wins
champion.
again, how many rings would that be? 10?
I think so.
I got Baldwin County going back to back. I have Newton winning 7A.
Really?
Yes. I know. Listen, and I know how good Milton is. I respect it. Y'all, I talked to y'all in June about how great I thought Norcross was. I think Norcross is going to be incredible. But I'm going. My way too early prediction is I'm going Newton.
I don't even know what I'm going to wear for work tomorrow. You want me to predict? State championship, you bugging.
Yeah. I couldn't give an answer.
Hey, I will give you a sleeper for 7A though.
Who?
This could be the year that Pierce gets it done. Now, a lot of people talking about Grayson this year. A lot of people maybe slipping. They have a lot of talent. They've been together. They got chemistry. They've got shooting. They've got guards.
Here. I think the thing with Grayson, they got to be healthy. It's a lot of things in the back that you probably don't know, Dre. So I think they have to be healthy.
Yeah, I may not know. I ain't in all them group chats a lot.
I ain't in no group chats either.
No, but you're on PTO right now, so you might be off a little bit.
But
Bryce, anything? Are you going back to coaching high school, Bryce?
Man, hell no. My math, man. High school. I've been saying it for 2 years. AAU, high school.
I might do one season of 7th, 8th grade basketball, man.
He might coach in the fall league.
Nah, that's not looking too good either.
You going back coaching CCJVC, Bryce?
Yeah, I might, man. Look, I'm either going. I'm gonna do that, or I'm going to the league. If anything in between, I ain't doing it. And my prediction is that the Washington football team We win the NFC East
What's
again.
going on?
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
That's all I got.
I'm gonna end it on that note.
Hold on, what Bryce say?
Go Giants.
Hey man, but that's our show, man. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate y'all kicking it, sending us in questions, being active. Love the chat. Got some other things coming that we working on, man. Can't wait to show you guys. But we out of here, man. We'll see y'all next week.